Our top focus is Saturday. The government announced one rank, one pension this afternoon, but veterans say they are unhappy, claim the government has rejected 5 out of their 6 demands. Let's quickly take you through the key points of this scheme that was announced by Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar. Not to same pension to defence personnel retiring in the same rank. Implementation from the 1st of July 2014 with base year as 2013. Pension would be revised every 5 years. Personnel who retire voluntarily will not be covered under OROP. One-member judicial committee to be formed as well will submit its report in 6 months' time. All widows, including war widows, will be paid arrears in one installment.
Let's go straight to the heart of the matter. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, please tell me, is this or is this not OROP?
No, I have been maintaining for a few days now that, in the discussion leading up to today, that anything beyond an annual normalization of pension technically is not OROP. And it is not the purest definition of OROP. But I've also said that I think people who are in the fight for OROP and who have been in the struggle for OROP must balance the pure definition of OROP versus the practical issue that a government that is trying to solve 40 years of apathy towards veterans in one stroke, the difficulties that they face. So I believe this is a great step forward towards reaching that ultimate holy grail of one rank, one pension. But the important thing is that the government of the day, the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister, have accepted one rank, one pension as a legitimate right of veterans. And are saying that what they have offered here today is a big, gigantic leap towards that one rank, one pension.
So, I want to ask you then, what do you feel are the constraints of the government in not being able to give what they said was easily givable in 100 days of their coming to power?
No, so that part I think you have to ask the government. I don't know if the 100 days or the 16 months is a legitimate issue, because if I was the government, I'd do a counter argument saying why is it the last 40 years people haven't been able to do it. The fact that the government has done it is in itself an achievement. Now whether it is a complete one rank, one pension, or are we 90% of our way there and there is still 10% to be done, I would argue that the balance 10% is something that the veterans must engage with the government. I will continue to work with the veterans. We should engage with the one-man commission. We should engage with a very, very proactive Defence Minister and continue to improve the lot of veterans.
Okay, so the government has, as of now, given a statement by the Defence Minister. He also told us that to issue a proper legal working order will take a few weeks from now.
Right.
Do you think that this, in a sense, then leaves you again in the lurch because you still have a political statement by an authority in power, no doubt, but there are no fine prints available?
No, I think part of the fine print issues is what is causing some amount of angst in some veterans.
Do you think they should have come out with that now that this has been such a long-standing issue?
Look, I mean, if you ask me, should you be perfect? Yes, you should be perfect, but governments operate the way governments operate. You always have an announcement and then you come up with a government order. Now, whether the government order takes 3 weeks or 2 weeks, that's up for the Defence Ministry and their efficiency to decide. But the key, I think, for example, on the VRS, on the premature retirement issue, is the Defence Minister has hinted that this is not to disqualify everybody who is prematurely retired from the one rank, one pension. So I think we should wait for the fine print. That is why I'm urging the veterans today, suspend your agitation. I think you have made the point. The whole country is aware of one rank, one pension. You have a lot of sympathy. The government has responded. Suspend it today and engage with the government in a much more positive, proactive manner, because the principle of one rank, one pension has been accepted.
Okay, so my final point to you, many at Jantar Mantar are saying that yes, we've got enhancements in our pensions, but then it was never about the money. It was always about the principle, which while in words is accepted, it's still not being implemented. What would you say to them?
No, I agree. I have always maintained to all the people who try to characterize veterans as, something else, that this is never about the money. This is about izzat, this is about honor. And in some ways, and I've gone public on this, that in some ways in the last few months, some people in the government did mishandle it. that they thought this was about money. And I think it was because then we intervened and many other people intervened that the government and the Prime Minister have then intervened and made this more of an issue of honor and justice for the veterans. And that you saw from what the Defence Minister said. He said we honor the veterans, we respect the veterans, we respect their sense of national service, and therefore this is about thanksgiving to the veterans rather than some sop.
Okay, but it stands to be rejected at least now. That's what General Sadhbir Singh is saying.
Well, I would still urge them to be positive and be engaged with the government and continue to work towards it rather than reject.
After an anxious wait, Union Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar announced one rank, one pension this afternoon, saying it would cost the exchequer anything between 8,000 to 10,000 crores. Here are the highlights.
Despite the huge financial burden, given its commitment to welfare of ex-servicemen, the government has taken a decision to implement the OROP. In simple terms, OROP implies that uniform pension be paid to armed forces personnel retiring in the same rank with the same length of service, regardless of their date of retirement. Further, enhancement in the rates of pension would be automatically passed on to the past pensioners.
At this point of time, I feel that they are being emotionally led there. They need to be reasonable. We are a disciplined force. We talk about our careers in the army being not a profession, but a way of life.
And veterans who had been protesting at Jantar Mantar for the last 80 days welcomed the announcement of one rank, one pension, but rejected the government's offer. They say they are going to continue with their agitation. The veterans have rejected the government's offer of pension revision every 5 years. The veterans have been demanding revision every 2 years. The veterans have also said that they will seek clarity on voluntary retirement clause, as the government has said that OROP will not cover those who take VRS. The veterans have also rejected government's one-member committee that will submit its report in 6 months' time. They have demanded a 5-member committee, which according to them should have 3 retired personnel, 1 serving and 1 member of the government's choice.
जो उन्होंने 1 member जुडिशियल कमीशन ये इक्वलाइजेशन के लिए बनाया है, उसका 1 member और 6 महीने उसको हम टोटली रिजेक्ट करते हैं। वो हमको मंजूर नहीं है, क्योंकि 6 महीने में क्या 1 मेंबर, वो भी जुडिशियल, जिनको हमारी कंडीशन या हमारे के बारे में कुछ मालूम नहीं है। आज हमने जब हमारी 11:30 बजे मीटिंग रक्षा मंत्री से हुई, उनको हमने क्लियरली बताया था कि अगर कमेटी आपने ऑर्डर करनी है तो वो 5 मेंबर की कमेटी होगी, जिसमें 3 मेंबर हमारे वेटरन्स के होंगे।
Let's get a word from India Today's Jugal Purohit, who's with us live from Jantar Mantar. Jugal, Major General Sadhbir Singh, they're rejecting the government's offer. Take us to the reactions that you've been picking up from the ground.
It's been a day of rapid developments. If the day started with the veterans announcing that they will be holding a massive protest rally against the government on the 12th of September, there were times when it looked as if that situation would not actually arise. They met the Defence Minister and then sounded at least a little optimistic. After that, of course, the press conference, or rather the one-sided unilateral statement by the Defence Minister came in, where he said what he did in his 8-minute long speech, after which no questions were asked, or rather were not even taken. In fact, after this 8-minute long speech, Manohar Parrikar left the venue without answering or taking on any questions, and then his ministry listed out his official stand. However, the main bone of contention, which is the implementation order, remains elusive. Defence Ministry sources tell us it will take from anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, or perhaps even more, for this order to actually materialize. And until that happens, there are many sore points that remain. Of course, these veterans have not only rejected it, but they've also refused to take the 13 members of their protest group who are on a fast unto death out of that. So in a sense, it remains, despite the government claiming it to be a historic step towards implementation of OROP, it still remains distance which is only half walk, because these people, the most affected parties, say that it isn't OROP, it may be enhancement of pension, but that's not what we were fighting for. That's the situation from here.
Veterans seeing this as glass still half full. Jugal, what's the road ahead for this agitation? The hunger strike has been called off, but the agitation likely to continue?
Well, you see, the issue is now all about 3 to 4 points. If I can quickly, just list them down. The first is, of course, revision once in 5 years. They are agreeable to once in 2 years. They also have been completely taken aback on account of the voluntary retirement scheme or the premature retirement as is being spoken about by the Defence Minister. These services are dead against this kind of a norm being introduced, and most people aware of the negotiation say that it has suddenly sprung up. It wasn't there anywhere in the last 83 days that these people have been talking to the government and the various mediators. So just where has it come from? One doesn't know. They also object to the one-member commission. They wanted it to be a 5-member commission. The veterans with 3 of their own people. The Defence Ministry has set that aside. Also, in terms of computation, the Defence Ministry has said that average of a particular pay band will be considered, whereas the initial position was that of the maximum portion of the pay band. So a lot of anomalies cropping up, but the bottom line remains that on one side now is the government, which says that the historic wrong has been corrected. On the other side are the veterans. Unfortunately, they still remain as they have been in the last 82 days on two opposite sides. Back to you.